Hello everybody and welcome back to another video for the day. We're going back into r/AmITheDevil, and if you guys would love to be absolutely amazing, show your support and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment down below to start up them wholesome internet discussions, and if you guys have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on them all notifications. Also, if you want to save 10%, code Tommy at checkout, GamerSupps, link down below. Am I the a-hole for complaining that my boyfriend's mom is moving into the house we were supposed to move into? Throwaway account because I don't want anyone I know to find this. I, 28F, have been with my boyfriend, 29M, for a year and a half. We've had a solid relationship so far, and we were planning to take it to the next step and move in together. I currently live with my best friend, who also is my flatmate, but she's moving back to her hometown soon. Since I've been made redundant from my last two jobs and can't afford the rent on my own for a 3-bedroom and 3-bathroom flat, I have to move out too. My boyfriend's parents aren't exactly wealthy, but they own 4 properties, all of which are occupied. 3 of them by friends and family, 1 of them by my boyfriend's mother, and the other one is the main family home. His brother recently bought a house, and the plans was for my boyfriend and me to move into the property we were used to live together. We had agreed to move in by July, and I've been really excited about it, especially since it'll be our first time living together. However, my boyfriend's family is a bit sketchy. They have some weird/funny business that he's never really explained to me, and I've always found it a little odd that he won't talk about it. His mom is also kind of strange to me. She's polite, but there's this underlying tension that I can't quite put my finger on. Last week, my boyfriend's dad sadly passed away after a long battle with cancer. I've tried to be supportive, but I haven't been able to see my boyfriend all week. I get that he's grieving, but with only 2 weeks left before we are supposed to move in together, I think we should be planning things out. There's so much to organize, and I'm feeling really anxious about the situation. Today, we had lunch with his mom, and she dropped a bomb. She's going to be moving into the house that we were supposed to live in. She said that she can't bear to stay in the house where her husband died, which I get, but I still feel incredibly rude to pull the rug out from under us like this, especially so last minute. I told my boyfriend how upset I was about this, and he completely flipped on me. He said that I was being unfair and selfish, and we ended up having a huge argument. He accused me of not understanding what his mom is going through, but I feel like no one is considering how this affects me. Now, I'm left scrambling to find a new place, but I'm honestly hurt that my boyfriend doesn't seem to care about how this impacts our plans. Am I the a-hole for being upset about this? Yeah, very much considering the situation and you trying to make it seem like you have it worse. Let me see here. You didn't lose a father, you didn't lose a husband, but no, very much it seems like you have it a bit worse. You know, I guess. Nothing said that move-in was going to be a permanent thing, if anything, because you guys have like 3 or 4 houses. Don't say that you're not wealthy if you don't have 3 or 4 houses. Then very much it could be a situation where it's just a temporary move-in while you're grieving and dealing with things. You know, because it's kind of like losing a loved one is a bit of a hits hard kind of situation. And yeah, way to go saying that, oh, they pulled the rug out from under this, like you were supposed to be expecting a heads up from her husband saying, oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna randomly die like next week. Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience there. Let's read in the comments to help with context. You don't own any of those properties, and neither does your husband, last I checked. If somebody wants to move into their own property, that's kind of their thing that they can do. I, 28F, threatened my husband, 30M, with divorce over another woman's lies. How can I fix this? My 28F husband, 30M, and I have been together for 6 years and married for 4 with 2 kids, 3F and 1F. My husband is everything to me. He's amazing in every way, and I couldn't possibly ask for a better husband or father for our daughters and future children. I love this man more than anything, and my absolute worst fear is losing him. He works an office job, but also occasionally teaches a weekend morning yoga/meditation class at a gym that he goes to. 2 months ago, a woman who is a fitness influencer with a following of about 20,000 recently started regularly attending his classes and asked to take a selfie, saying that she wanted to give my husband and the gym a shout out for organizing the yoga class. She took 3 selfies, 2 of them, and in the last one, she randomly kissed my husband on the cheek, and my husband made it clear that he had no interest in her. My husband told me that what happened, and the very day, and he never followed her or back or gave her his number, and I felt thankful and happy that my husband was honest and upfront with me about something else or someone else testing the waters with him and him shutting her down. A few days later, this woman somehow found my social media and requested to follow me, which I denied. I kept a close eye on her social media for a while, and a few days after that, she changed her profile picture to one of the selfies of her and my husband. I randomly showed up to my husband's next yoga class, and afterwards I gave her a piece of my mind to leave my husband and I alone. Her profile picture went back to what it was before, and I thought that it was the end of that. I kept showing up to my husband's yoga class, and she was always there too, and she would try to make small talk. But I mostly ignored her until she eventually apologized and admitted that she was out of line. Over the next few weeks, she became okay and somewhat friends, despite my husband telling me to not get close or trust her. Over the past weekend, I got a text from her telling me that she felt guilty about hiding the truth and sent me several screen recordings worth of messages between her and my husband talking bad about me. The lies he would tell me, plans to hook up, etc. It all seemed real, and there was no way that I could have known that it was all fake, especially since she had been very friendly to me in the past few weeks. I confronted my husband, and he denied it all, and I didn't believe him. I accused him of deleting the messages from his phone. I said terrible things to him and told him to leave our home and never speak to me again. I told him that we were done and that I would be filing for divorce and he would never see our daughters again. I got on a call with her to get all of the details, and I caught her in a lie, and I pressed her about it. And she confessed that it was all a lie, and she broke down and said that she just wanted my husband. I immediately called my husband and begged him to come home and apologize for everything I did and said to him. Today, he came home after work and played with our daughters for a little while and left again once they were in bed. He's been ignoring me almost completely, and he's fully in the right to do so. I know that I've made several mistakes, becoming her friend despite my husband telling me not to, trusting her screen recordings, not trusting my husband's love and loyalty to me, and kicking him out of our home. It's all my fault. I cried myself to sleep last night, and tonight won't be any different. I can't do this without him. He's my everything, and I feel like I've lost him. I know that he will be back tomorrow after work, and that will be my best chance to try talking and apologizing to him. What can I do to fix and earn my husband's trust back? I have thought of everything from writing him a letter to telling him how sorry I am and how much I love and admire him, to forcing a hug and to cooking his favorite dish, to suggesting some sort of counseling for us, but I don't know what to actually do. Like, I'm gonna be legit, I'm not married myself, but I think trusting your partner over somebody randomly showing up was probably a good thing to think of instead of doing the exact opposite of that. There have been many instances where people can get a little bit of a following on the internet and think that they're absolutely invincible. That is very much not the case. And if you really wanted proof from your husband, you could have looked at the messages, or he could have shown you the messages if for some reason you really wanted to see them and see that there wouldn't be any breaks showing any deleted messages. The context of any type of conversation would have been kept on going forward. If there was actually deleted messages, then you would see sentences not getting answered, questions being answered before the question is actually visible. There would have been a lot of indication to show that there was a message deleted or two. But no, like you stated before and what was stated by myself earlier, you decided to trust some random person over your significant other, which then resulted into you getting into an argument with your husband, not believing your husband when he was saying that these things did not happen, you kicking him out, and then, you know, you having to deal with the consequences of your own actions. If anything good does come from this, and any type of growth does come from that, it's not going to be immediate, and you're going to have to earn it. And way to go also on top of all of that, of threatening to make it so that your husband never sees his kids again. There have been people in the past that use very messed up methods in order to make it so that the court systems swing in their way, to make it so that this significant other can't see their kids, and it really is concerning trying to guess what those methods that you were considering actually were. Would I be the a-hole if I asked my sister not to include my siblings in her will? I know how this sounds, so bear with me. We are from the same parents, but they're older, 22, 20, 19, and 17 years old. And I was like an only child. I only formed a real relationship with them after college. Oldest sister married a successful man 20 years older than her. She worked with him, and when he turned 60, they retired. She was 40. They live off of pensions, social security, and interest income, and have $2 million. They have no kids, and their health is failing. His docs say that he has less than a year to live. She has cancer, and has about the same. Brother and his wife retired in their 50s after selling her family's business, inherited when her parents died, and they travel, and have 2 houses in the US and 1 in Italy. They have 3 kids. Next sister's husband is an executive for a big company. They travel with my brother a lot and have 2 homes, 2 kids. Last sister is widowed. Her husband made over $1 million a year, and when he died, she told us that he left her with about $10 million. She volunteers, chairs a running club, and audits college classes to keep busy. She has 2 kids. I've struggled. In 2014, I got promoted. Then, in 2015, the company I was at got bought, and I was let go. I found a lower job with a pay cut. I was close into my 2015 salary when the pandemic shut down the new employer. I found a full-time job that was horrible, and was lucky to then find another job. I'm employed, but making less than 9 years ago. I contribute to my 401k, and I'm frugal. I drive a 2015 car, and I have some savings. This company is being bought, so my position will likely go away in 12 to 18 months. My oldest sister may be executive of their estate, or executor? I don't know, this sounds like a Pokemon. And I'm happy to do it. Their will says everything is split between their siblings. I think about how $500,000 won't change my brothers and sisters' lives. Just a little windfall to toss in with the rest. For me, life-changing. But the full amount would mean that I can stress a whole lot less about money. I could live the life I've always watched them live. I know I sound entitled and selfish. I'm grateful to be in their will at all. And I know I'm so much more fortunate than so many. It's very hard to be so much younger and so much less successful than my siblings are/were. I ended up with a family full of multimillionaires, and I fear that I'll never even get halfway to the point where they are. I'll watch my nieces and nephews inherit their parents' money, and I'll just live my modest life. Jealousy is horrible. I'm thinking of asking my sister about the will, and if she's thought about any of this. I am scared to be too blunt, and I might even chicken out. It feels wrong to ask her to exclude the others, but the money just won't mean very much to them. They're all wealthier than she is. Would I be the a-hole to bring this up? I don't want to seem greedy and ungrateful, but I can't stop thinking about it. Yes, very much the a-hole, because if you're given $500,000, there is a lot of things that you can do to make it so that $500,000 turns into a whole lot more millions of dollars. I know one thing you could do for sure is buy a few properties as outright in order to rent them out, and that turns into constant income, so that way you wouldn't have to work because you would be living off of the rent from those houses, and then basically you could get into some kind of real estate investment over time. And yeah, just because you won't have that amount, that huge amount right up front, that doesn't mean that it's completely out of reach because, oh god, you were only given $500,000 when this person died. A neighbor called the HOA because I was working on my boat in my driveway for a few days, so I emptied oily bilge water into the flower bed. I live in a condo complex with mostly senior citizens. My neighbor lives alone, is over 70 years old, and reminds me of the crotchety old grandma from Malcolm in the Middle who is just nasty to everyone. When she moved in about a year ago, I quickly realized I needed to get on her good side or she'd be a huge pain. I installed a new smokes and CO2 alarms for her, and even gave her the alarms. Helped her move some patio furniture for winter storage, installed a new outdoor light fixture for her when hers broke, shoveled her driveway and sidewalk every time it snowed, etc. Cut to last weekend, I had a boat out, and it had some engine trouble, leaking water into the hull. Instead of parking it in the community trailer/RV parking lot, I parked it in my driveway for a couple of days so that I could keep the batteries on charge, and have access to a hose to try to fire up the engine. I was out there working on it each evening. On the third day, I got a call from the property management company saying that there was a complaint filed, and I had to move the boat by the end of the week or they would have to tow it. I was out there getting it all covered up to store it, and my neighbor came back from walking her dog and gave me the biggest stink eye. I had noticed that morning that when I was driving out of the neighborhood and she was on the sidewalk, she saw me coming and turned her back, and I thought that was strange, but I finally figured it out when I got a call from the complaint. After she went inside, I fired up the boat and let a ton of water leak into the hole when I turned on the bilge pump, which pumps in overboard, and right into her flower bed. Edit for all of those complaining about polluting. 1. I didn't realize there was any oil on the hull. The motor has never leaked oil, and I know of it in the past. 2. This wasn't Deepwater Horizon. There was a rainbow sheen on the puddle, but it wasn't like I was pumping a quart of oil out onto the ground. I didn't even realize it until I shut everything down and climbed out of the boat. I'm very aware that it's not good for the environment, and would never do it on purpose. I volunteer as a groundwater quality control monitor in my local watershed watch organization in my spare time. I was running the motor to try to look for additional water leaks that might not be fixed by the part I have on order. It wasn't with the intent to dump a bunch of polluted water. Once I realized that there was oil in the water, I thought it would be a good story for the Petty Revenge sub. Edit 2. I just ran into her on my way to grab my mail. I said, "Hey, did you complain to the HOA about my boat? You have my cell phone number. You could have called me if it was bothering you." And all she said was, "You're not allowed to park a boat in your driveway," and walked away. Anybody else getting the feeling that there's a lot of this that was not said that probably would have been nice to add context to this? Like, why did she not happen to message you? It could have been something in the past where she did say something and you just kind of shooed her off. Especially since you were considering putting this in the Petty Revenge sub by dumping oil on her plants. Yeah, it's totally not like that has some kind of weird notion towards it. Am I the a-hole for not disclosing my lack of empathy before I started babysitting? Hi, so I, 22M, struggle with empathy and connecting with people quite a lot. It was worse when I was younger, but I had trouble with the police, and since going to therapy, I have slightly gotten better. I am deliberately trying to keep it vague here because I don't know how much I can share, but most importantly part is that I don't really feel empathy or sympathy for people, and I get very annoyed by people. I recently started babysitting my friend Joe's 26M kid for some extra money, and because I don't have anything else to do on a night sometimes. My friends, including Joe, don't know about my condition, and I regularly pretend that I'm really interested in their lives, for example. Well, his kid, 2F, cries a lot whenever I watch her. I don't know why, and it annoys me quite a lot, yeah, because, toddlers crying is apparently new. I don't really stop her crying or see what she wants, because it's not like she will remember the memory, or she will be really damaged in the future by this. I'm not sure if I'm just phasing it right, I apologize, but usually I read or I watch a movie while she does this, and I let her cry. Joe's wife came home early yesterday and caught me in the middle of watching a movie while her daughter was screaming and crying. She asked me what I'm doing and why I wasn't helping her, but I tried to explain what I said in this post. There's no point because this won't affect her in the future, and it's okay to let them cry. I didn't tell her that the crying really annoyed me, but I told her that I didn't really have a lot of empathy for the kid, and that kids just do this. It doesn't mean anything, it's wrong, and you should just let them cry. She said that my statements were strange, and that I shouldn't babysit for a while, and she sent me home early. I haven't heard from Jo since this, but she texted me this morning and told me that I should have told her sooner about what I think of her daughter. Am I the a-hole? It's not personal, I feel this way around all children. So let me get this straight, you said that you wanted to be a babysitter because you needed the extra money, and that's literally the only reason you did it whatsoever. You just made it so that the cops don't get called on the house with the kid being home alone. It's not like toddlers actually need to be cared for or anything. Oh yeah, nah, never mind, they actually do, and you're just a wonderful human being who does not need to be around kids for anything whatsoever. You really just did the absolute bare minimum on a technical level so that the cops don't get called to the house. And I'm betting for the exact same rate that they were paying you, they could have hired an actual babysitter. Well, I can absolutely guarantee you that's going to be their decision going forward next time, because I know for sure that I wouldn't want you around any little kid acting like that. You've already stated that you don't like kids. Why would you want to be around them? Oh, because I want to get the money. That's it. That's really it. Stop it! Am I the a-hole for calling my girlfriend selfish for backing out of moving in with me? My girlfriend, 25F, and I, 28M, have been dating for about 2.5 years. We met right after college and have been very serious, except we don't live together. I wanted to move in together after years, but she didn't want to because her landlady/roommate gives her a good deal on rent. Her roommate's family is rich and bought her an apartment because she has a lot of serious food allergies. She's had roommates before, but some would forget and bring home the allergens, so she lived alone for a while. My girlfriend always remembers not to, and she is also a nurse, which makes the roommate's parents like her, as she knows how to use an EpiPen and respond to emergencies. She pays $700 all-inclusive on rent on a 2-bed, 2-bath, whereas a studio in the area is like $1,800, not including utilities. So, I feel like the relationship is not going anywhere because she doesn't want to leave the cheap rent. But she could afford to pay more for rent, but won't as long as her roommates don't kick her out. A few months ago, her roommate was laid off and was talking about moving cities if she couldn't find another job in this one. My girlfriend and I began talking about moving in together, as she would also need to leave if this was the case. We found the right place after looking for a while, but she refused to sign as her roommate found another job. I was pissed because we spent a lot of time looking at apartments, and now she won't sign. The place would have been $2,100 plus utilities, which means she would need to pay $1,200 to $1,300 a month, which isn't that bad given her salary. It's more than what she is paying with her roommates, but I don't know, I just feel like if she cared about our relationship, that she would pay it as agreed, and we can't process without living it together. She also recently paid off all of her student loans from saving money from paying low rent, and is now indulging herself. I have brought up moving in, or maybe getting engaged and buying property together, but she says that she has worked hard her whole life, and now that her student loans are gone, she deserves some nice stuff. She has bought a lot of clothes, and recently brought AirPods. She was showing them to me, and I said under my breath that she was choosing fancy headphones over us. She got mad and told me that I was being ridiculous, and that if I could pay what she does for her rent, then I would never want to leave either. I told her I would because I care about the relationship, and I'm not selfish enough to choose clothes or AirPods over moving in. She left my apartment and hasn't talked to me all weekend. Yes, because the difference is the relationship. Yes, because you don't truly love your significant other unless you live together. That totally makes sense whatsoever. The only trade-off is you now have to spend 3 times what you did before in rent. I'd feel pretty accomplished and want to indulge myself if I happen to have been able to just pay off my student loans or happen to Anything that you've been spending money on for a very long time, when you finally have that paid off, yeah, you get a little bit of a sense of relaxation and you want to treat yourself a little bit because, you know, it's not like that money has been constantly going to something you did not like before. Am I the a-hole for knowingly sleeping with a man in a relationship? Edit. Would I be the a-hole? I technically haven't done it yet. So this guy that had been flirting with me for about a week, making small talk, asking me about myself, giving me these suggestive looks and blowing kisses at me. He was exactly my type, which I never mind. I'm like uncontrollably particular. But I kept my distance because my friend said that he might be married since he knew that he had a few kids. The kids didn't bother me because this was a purely physical attraction and I would never meet/see them. So one day I asked if he was married and he said no and put his number in my phone. I never asked him about a girlfriend or a relationship, but I knew that he was sleeping with another woman, which again didn't bother me since we were not serious and I was also seeing other people. We talked for a few more weeks and eventually slept together. That night, he asked me, seemingly unprovoked, if I had ever been with a man that had a girlfriend. I said, not that I know of, and he just laughed, but I wasn't joking. Then he sent a message telling me that he was in a relationship, but then unsent the message a few seconds later. I never responded, so he likely thinks I just fell asleep and never saw it. Is it wrong that I still want to sleep with him knowing that he has a girlfriend? For some context, I've never cheated on anyone in my life, and I'm very upfront and honest with people that I'm seeing about non-exclusivity. And as someone who has been cheated on in the past as serious relationships, it feels wrong to be on this side of things, but we already slept together before I knew, and I can't really take it back now. Also, he was cheating on his girlfriend way before he and I ever met. So, am I making the problem worse, really? It just stresses me out to think that they could have kids together and or live together. I don't even know that they do, but what if? I'm a hypothetical homewrecker? I should stop seeing him? He would still be cheating on her multiple women either way, but does it make a difference if I'm directly involved? P.S. I'm grown, and we are all consenting adults, yet not the dude's girlfriend, I know that's for sure. I think I would feel really kind of gross if somebody was cheating on their significant other with me. I don't know why, but it feels like something that I just wouldn't be able to sit right knowing that I would be with somebody who is already in a relationship. Because, like, I don't like the idea of anybody cheating on anybody else because you're going against this agreement and everything. And it doesn't matter what side that I'm on for this, I would still feel horrible being, like, involved in this. But with that is going to have to be it with the video. If you guys would love to be absolutely amazing, show your support and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below to start up them wholesome internet discussions, and if you guys have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Also, if you want to save 10% on gamer subs, again, like I stated at the beginning, code below, link below is there, and you would be awesome of supporting me that way. But I will be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye!